Maraf, welcome to 100 to 1 podcast. Myself, DJ Rex. Who else we got in the building?
Got the Guna over there.
Boy, I thought I was waiting for you. I was my boy Nams. Can you start again? I thought we were
Guna's first, man.
I'll cut it out. So again.
Yeah. Obviously, it's your boy Nams, Arsenal lover in the building.
So you got the Rose, the Blue Badge King.
Who you repping on, Rose, for new viewers? Who your team for?
Not too much light can be shed on that one. Obviously, all day I'm a United man. Red till we dead, man.
I hear it. So let's start with last week in betting. So, Ro, how did you get on with your slips last week?
Yeah, not too bad, Like I had, I think last weekend I made I got like a nice little £130 in play. So, which was, not the biggest win I've ever had, but like I was very pleased with that win as well, like at that time, because it's about partly changing my strategy in terms of my cash out approach. And, why I was happy with that is because I took the approach. I think the bet was worth maybe about £1,200. I did it in play, maybe half time or something like that. And it got to a point where the cash out got to about 130 with maybe like 16 minutes to go. And I took that and the bet lost. And I thought, look, that 130 covered all my L's for that weekend. And that was it, bro. And I think, look, I've got to be mixing it up a bit with the cash out like now, and because when I think back, sometimes when I'm lying in my bed, man, my funds are low, but I start thinking all the 39s, bro, that I let go, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you've got to strike a right balance, right? Because you don't want to be too hasty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to obviously try to get the big lit from the bet or whatnot, but you don't want to go too fast. And it's a fine line, but
it's a fine line. But the point is, invariably, like the big licks is not going to come in. Like,
exactly.
Or like you're not going to the chances are that there's a far greater chance you're not going to win that. So basically, you obviously, like you said, it's a balance. Like obviously, £50, £30, whatever. But like leaving money on the table when it starts getting a few hundred is what like money that could be useful. Like £300, I'll take that. So I'd rather take that than not.
The thing is, cash out. So go on.
No, that's so you can bank some, then reinvest.
My cash out strategy is like, because when I'm really, really after the big lick, I try to choose my games accordingly to the point where like the way they're structured as well, in the sense that basically there ain't going to be no good cash out unless this thing is really, really coming home. Like, the way the games, the kickoff times are staggered, that now all of these are in play at the same time. Basically, if they're going well, then I'm going to know what time it is, basically. So there's a little bit of an art behind, the cash out thing. So you can keep your cash outs. I feel like, okay, if these come in really, my cash out's going to be still going to be quite low. So I'm going to hang in there until the last batch kick off. And if that's going well, then I'll see it. Then even if I do cash out, the cash out should be a generous one, basically. But they're getting less and less generous, these cash outs anyway. But
to be fair, cash out is not really hitting unless every single part of that slip is
absolutely. And the £130, I think that I won. If I remember correctly, I think all of them were in at the time, but it was too volatile. Sometimes you got to use your sense as well. Like you got like 20 minutes here to go, and basically any goal in any game in the best off. Like then it's just like realistically, like do you know what I mean? There's every chance that you know what I mean. Even the thing is, the cash out is kind of delicate because you think even if you stand firm in 20 minutes, when it gets to 3 minutes, the cash out's not necessarily going that high. Fred knows one goal you're done. And that from that one goal at that point either.
When I saw your slip, I was thinking, I hope Rose takes his P's, like, because realistically, I looked at that Fulham game, and that one was on the edge. That could go either way. It's like 20 minutes left.
So I needed one more Fulham goal. That's what I needed. Then I'll hold firm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So and that moves me to the other slip, obviously. So Rex, I think you can put it up on the screen. So I did one of my this is why they call me the Blue Badge King, by the way. If anybody wanted any context or clarity, I did a handicap slip in midweek, which was for the Carabao Cup games. Predominantly, I did throw Stuttgart in there, but my approach to that, I just thought, look, at this stage, I backed all of the Premier League teams against the lower opposition, and I know you can get some cup upsets, but I think that I looked at the lineups first, and I felt that most of the teams had gone quite strong, and I just thought the Premier League will have too much. So I backed them to win and win well. And, you know, look, it's not always going to be like that, but it was on Tuesday, I think this came in. So, and yeah, I did take the cash out, but I was fortunate that the whole bet was winning in the second half. So I weighed it up. The total amount was what, £650, £472. I'm already like 70% of the bet that I've got guaranteed, which one goal can give me nothing. So take 70%. It's not a 20%, 30% that I'm being offered. So yeah, I won that. And as Nam said, you know, the big one was Fulham, I felt. I think Fulham had the smallest cushion as well. So there was one goal, Fulham were 2-0 up, and, you know, Birmingham away from home. Birmingham are a respectable enough team that I think they can get a goal in a you know, in a cup tie, a home cup tie against Premier League side. And obviously one goal would have ruined the bet. And I didn't think it was worth risking £475 really, you know, to get a 650. So, you know, but that's a win anyway. It was 100% bet. So I'm happy for that. And yeah,
so did it land? Did it
yeah,
land?
Yeah, it landed. Yeah,
So
all won.
It won.
Yeah, I would have won the 650 if I held, but it was all winning at the time that I cashed out as well. So it wasn't like I needed a goal or something. It was all winning at that time. But I just obviously at the same time, one goal could have scuppered it. I think the other games I had a bit of a cushion as well in most of them anyway. So, and I think they staggered the kickoff time. So some of them were further ahead, like 8 minutes to go. Fulham had like 20 minutes to go or something at the time. So, and only one goal. So I thought, no, I'm not risking that.
I think as well, obviously doing the cash out was the best thing. And obviously the rest of the bet won. But let's be honest, man, 8 to 9 times out of 10, the rest of the bet ain't gonna win. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna win. Exactly. Yeah. That's what your hand starts shaking by the trigger finger. It ain't gonna win. So,
and I think you do need to have common sense as well. When you look, like I said, the percentage thing is a way to maybe look at it as well. 70%, 75% of a bet, like you have to take that.
What are you looking for here? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's not worth risking. Like 75%, that's greed, like pretty much.
Yeah, 100%.
If you can guarantee 75% of the thing of the winnings already, then take it.
Yep.
From a £6 sixfold, that's great. Like most people take week in, week out. Most people take that 9 times out of 10. So
exactly. So that was our first 100 plus to one. I think it was about 107 or whatever it was to one. So you know that's one of them landed already this season, guys.
Actually, you know what? I remember, Rose, I saw your snap that weekend, man. You seem to be eating good food that weekend. Did you go somewhere nice, eat some lavish dishes? You well, but well that weekend, boy.
I'm telling you, bro. Telling you. But yeah, this blue badge, I think that, you know, look, I like to liken my approach to a golfer. I always said this, like you got a bag of clubs, and over the years you develop your different, you know, I've got you got your pitcher, your driver, your wedge, your putter in a bag of clubs. So I look at the games, and the games will tell me which one I need to draw out. It's a handicap one, or if I think I need to go for a lot of goals, both teams, etc. So, you know, it's not good. While I say blue badge, you don't stick to just one. If you don't see it, you don't see it. You got to look at the games, and the games will tell me which of my weapons. I have a few that I like to use, and when I look at the list, it will kind of generally dictate which way I'll go. So that was a lineup of Premier League, lower league, like lineup generally in the cups. Stuttgart were playing whoever know they were playing. I think they won 7-0 or something stupid like that. Stuttgart. So basically, you know, I saw the potential for you know, more than one goal, like winning by more than one goal margins. I saw those. I thought that's just the easiest one to go for there.
No, I wasn't too far myself in something that I did last weekend. And when I looked at the games on Sunday, I think we had Crystal Palace against Chelsea, we had Newcastle against Tottenham, and then obviously United against Liverpool. So quite volatile, high tempo games. So I'll send a slip afterwards, but I went for I used Paddy Power and foul in each half. So obviously a player has to foul in each half, basically the first half and the second
individual
half.
Player, like, or is it
individual
player?
Yeah, individual player. Yeah, like I said, next week I'll definitely send a slip so you can put up as well. But So the Chelsea game, so there's an app, or not even an app, a site that I use where I get my stats basically in it, and it's absolute quality. And I'll let you know in it. It's got everything that you need there, all the shots, people, all the fouls, because I typically intertwine between shots and fouls in it. But I thought fouls would make more sense. But anyway, long story short, for the Chelsea and Crystal Palace game, my stats were telling me that Munoz, the right back for Crystal Palace, hella fouls. Obviously, just common sense tells you Caicedo is going to be slipping and sliding around that midfield. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's basic stuff. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not rocket science, bro. So, Munoz, Caicedo, found each half, came through, no issues. Now, the Newcastle-Tottenham game, had a few options here. So, I was thinking Newcastle, Joe Linton, he's top of the list. Bruno Guimaraes, he's top of the list.
Real thuggish guys.
Real thuggish guy. They go around. Bruv, last week he clotheslined someone, but we didn't even get booked, bruv. He clotheslined him. We didn't even get booked, bruv.
I thought you got sent off for that.
But we didn't get booked, didn't get nothing. He clotheslined.
He got sent off.
We did not get booked at all. But last week he Bournemouth, bruv. He clotheslined.
The goalkeeper, like I think it was the goalkeeper.
Exactly.
Yeah,
goalkeeper didn't get booked. Nothing, bruv. Keeper referee let him off. But anyway, Newcastle was quite obvious, bruv. You're gonna go for those two thugs in midfield, bruv. Guimaraes and Joe Linton. But I picked Guimaraes. Anyway, he got fouls in both fouls. For Tottenham, it was a little bit more tricky because you've got more folks to go for. I was kind of flirting between Porro, what's his name, Ndogi, and also Basuma, but I went for Ndogi instead, basically. And Guimaraes came through, but Ndogi only got a foul in the first half. If I went for Basuma, it would have been both fouls, basically, and that would have let me get to the Man United game, which I think I put Gravenberch for a foul in both halves, and I think I was between Mazraoui and Kobe Mainoo. But basically, long story short, if I put Basuma, would have made it to the Man United game. The cash out at the time, the whole bet would have returned. I put £10 on it. The whole bet would have returned, I think, around 11 to 10 racks. Then, if I chosen definitely Basuma, I would say the cash out for the last game would have been at least maybe a couple, two to 3 racks, I'd say. Yeah. At that point, bruv, I'm out of there, bruv, man. I'm gone, bruv. I'm out. What am I waiting for, bro? I'm gone, bruv. I'm gone, like. So that was, for me, when I look at the game, similar to Rose's strategy, when I look at the games, I'm thinking, okay, is this more fouls? Is it more shots? So that was you're definitely gonna be seeing more of that bet moving forward, like, man. So it was close call, but we'll see next week,
You got to send that site though.
No, bro. Like I can share it with you. Like you might not, I'll even give you my logins, bro. You can use it, but I can use it. I'll use it. Everyone uses it. Like, so
I used. There was one. Not I saying used. There was another bet that I did last week as well, which would have won. I think it's like 14k as well. Like, but obviously it was another kind of handicap slip, a mixture of handicap and match results. But I went the wrong way around with Wolves and Chelsea. So part of the reason why the odds were as big, because I went for Wolves to win, and I think Wolves were like, I don't know, 5-1 or something silly like that to beat Chelsea. 2-2 at half time. I was very well in that. But 10 minutes after half time, that game was done, bro. So the other ones came in.
I guess with that said, we'll wrap up that section and maybe discuss this week in football. Given that it's an international week, don't know if there's going to be much on the.
We can talk about last weekend. I mean, I think one of obviously the transfer window ended last weekend, so that's something that we can discuss. Some interesting deals. Some England wingers, some England wingers / former England wingers trying to revive their careers with some moves. We had Raheem Sterling going to Arsenal, Jadon Sancho going to Chelsea. So those are two interesting moves. Two London boys going for London clubs. Just that's a real interesting move. I mean, firstly, I'll start with Nams. Nams is obviously the Arsenal man. How do you see what's your opinion on your club's moves for Raheem Sterling?
My opinions on Sterling. I haven't always been the biggest fan personally, but
why not?
I just think he's really, really wasteful in front of goal. I've never really liked his ball striking ability. I don't really think he can strike the ball properly. But I've just always been a bit iffy on Sterling. Obviously, in the Man City system, he's always been fed very, very well. Back post, tap-ins. But when it's time to really finish a chance, I'm not too confident in Sterling. And my thoughts in terms of Arsenal players and the finishers that we have in the team. Apart from Trossard, I don't trust none of them men in front of goal, really, bro. If I'm being honest with you, bro. You know what I'm saying? So bringing Sterling in, I was a bit, bit iffy. But when I've taken a step back and thought about it more, and the deficiencies that we have in that left-hand slot, it actually makes a lot of sense because Premier League proven. You know, you can say what you want about Sterling, but he's got the trophies, he's got the accolades. Like he's a good player. He's been a good player. He's been a good Premier League player for many, many years now, basically. And one thing that Arsenal do lack on that left-hand side when Martinelli's not around or is in bad form as he is right now is that penetration, man, that pace, that know-how of someone in the back post that can get into those dangerous areas. Now, can Sterling finish those chances? We're gonna have to see if he's improved in that aspect. But is Sterling gonna click with the way the team plays? Is he gonna add a little bit of threat in behind that we need? I think he is. And Sterling seems like a sort of personality, like if he's got something to prove, I think he'll really, really kind of, get stuck in. So to be honest,
he's been in that position before.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in an England shirt, and he's
Exactly. Say what you want about Sterling, bruv, but let's be real, like he's a real guy, like he's got personality, bruv. You know what I'm saying? Like he speaks out, bruv. You know what I'm saying? So, and he shows personality on the field. So
Absolutely.
for me, I think Sterling, now when I think about it in hindsight now and I think about it properly, I think it is a good move for exactly what we need. Experienced player, he's worked with Arteta before. Our system's not too dissimilar to the Man City days where all he's got to do really is make the incisive runs, hold off players, and then arrive in the box at the right times. My biggest issue is just, can I trust Sterling with a big chance, basically? If let's just say, for example, Sterling comes on against Tottenham, it's 1-1, 89th minute, Sterling back post, unless it's a tap-in, but like I'm talking about like a proper chance, maybe Sterling's actually got to think about a finish. Do I trust him in front of goal? Not really, to be honest with you, but that's more of an Arsenal problem.
I think that's a fair point. Although what I will say, not to be misconstrued, but I've always thought I think not finishing. I feel like, okay, I'm going to say it. Finishing, I think, is a little bit overrated in a sense, in the sense that what makes a good finisher. I think that a large part of a goal scorer is not about in their ability to finish; it's their ability to get into the right positions. The actual quality of the finishes are mandatory. They're basic. It's an act. So a lot of people, as a United fan, for example, I feel like mistakenly always go on about Ruud van Nistelrooy as such an amazing finisher. Ruud van Nistelrooy is a good finisher, but for me, he was never a good finisher as Solskjaer. Majority of the goals that Ruud van Nistelrooy scored, the work was done before the finish.
Yeah.
The fact that I found myself consistently managed to find myself at the back post, 1 yard out, nobody in front of me, or with a yard of space. The finish is not the hard part at that point. You tapped it in, you've headed it in from a yard, you've slid in front of the defender. There's the finishing ability of Solskjaer was more superior. So I don't think that Raheem Sterling, I agree with you that he's not a great finisher, but I don't believe that that's going to necessarily inhibit him from getting a lot of goals for Arsenal. So
no. I agree with that.
Getting into the right positions, constantly being in the right place is going to be more useful to him than the superior finishing ability that maybe say even Martin Odegaard has over Sterling, or let me think who else is it. I mean, to be honest, when I think about it, it's not too many. I wouldn't say there's any great finishes at Arsenal at the moment. So I'm thinking of an example. But basically, getting into the position is more key. When you have a dominant team that sustains attacks, someone that can constantly find a yard, the finish is basics. Half of the time, the finish is even scuffed. It doesn't even need to be anything too great. The point is, we need someone to get on the end of things. Someone who's got adept at finding space in the box, dangerous position. If Sterling gets 10 goals from 8 yards or less, that is perfectly fine for Arsenal.
I totally hear that. I totally hear that. But where I come back on that is, I totally get that. If we can get Sterling in the positions to be getting those easy finishes where you ain't got to really think, just tap-ins, etc., that's fantastic. But what I'm talking about is, and what Arsenal lack in general, what I'm worried about is though there's going to be moments in any season, bro, when you're going to need to take a chance. It's not going to be given. It's not going to be low-hanging fruit. A lot of Sterling goals are low-hanging fruit in it. It's tap-ins at the back post, easy stuff. There's going to be a finish where you're going to need to think. And that's the problem with Arsenal players. A lot of our players right now, they're good at instinctive.
I mean, Kai Havertz took one of those last week.
Yeah, for me, that you talk about the lob, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I expected him to score because that was the only option, really. If you're any common sense option there is to lob it. I think personally, it was obvious to lob
I
it.
don't think so. 1v1 is very easy to screw up. Like you could try all kinds of things. Try and go around the keeper. Next thing you know, the picture changes in a second, in less than a second. If you don't take the decision at the right time, you haven't shot. Now is a point. I see people tie themselves up so many times. I think that basically that was I mean, he had another chance in the second half where, but the keeper closed the angle, and I don't think the Havertz done anything wrong.
No, I don't think he did either. I think the keeper made a really, really good save. But where I disagree is, I hear what you're saying, but I think the decision was made for him. As soon as he went through, I said, just lob him. Any striker knows, just lob him. And for me, it was pleasant to see actually Havertz think like a striker. He was like, okay, the straight option is lob him, and he did it. Perfect. Second finish, the touch was unbelievable, bruv. He made that chance all by himself. And to be honest with you, like, I don't actually begrudge him, bruv. He finished it low and hard. The keeper actually made a fantastic save. I don't actually, say anything against that one. But in general, like with Arsenal players and our finishers and our strikers and our wingers, when they've got
the difference is that in the second chance, Messi would have chipped him.
Yeah, exactly. But
that's the difference. So that is one point in terms of that is a part of selecting, and again, it goes back to the golf club analogy 100%. Of selecting your weapon for each scenario. Messi would have chipped him and given himself. It might have been. Not everybody can execute it, but if you can't execute it, the keeper won't save it. And Messi makes that choice all the time, in a sense that
every single
this is the one that is going to give me the best chance of scoring, even though maybe the hardest to execute for most people.
Yeah, not for him.
The chip's guaranteed.
100%. I was actually thinking that as well. I was thinking, if it was Messi just thinks that over him. But like I said, Havertz is my boy. I'm not going to begrudge him. He created a chance from nothing by himself. He had a good, drive low. Keeper made a good save, like, man. And then the second one, we discussed that already, and Saka was kind of falling over.
Yeah, it's on a stretch, like, realistically. It was
on
a stretch.
To come up to the point, Sterling, I'm with it. At first, I wasn't, but to me, it makes sense. I think it's a good decision. Premier League proven player. I think it's going to add a lot to our team. Explosiveness, hopefully getting in the right positions. Hopefully, he's going to push Martinelli to kind of get back to his best as well, like, man. So, yeah, I'm with it, man. I think it will be actually a really, really good signing.
Okay, and moving on to the next one that we was mentioning, obviously my guy Jadon Sancho going to Chelsea. I'm less optimistic of success for him there. Personally, I haven't written him off. Jadon Sancho's got a lot of ability. I don't think that's what Chelsea need, though. I still think, I mean, look, he might prove us wrong, but I think that they could do with a more direct threat on the left, which is probably going to be the position that he's going to play in. He can play centrally. Maybe they're gonna, Cole Palmer probably should be playing in that position, I'll say. So I'm less optimistic. But what I do know is that Chelsea really wanted him, which leads me to be optimistic for him that they must have an idea of how they intend to use him. So that remains to be seen. But he's 24 years old. He's got a lot of ability. I remember been watching Sancho since his days in the youth team. He used to take the mick at that level, which doesn't really count for much today, to be fair, because half of those people he was beating, where are they now? Like they, but he's got a lot of ability. The issue with Sancho is I think that he's not a player that can thrive in every environment. He needs a very, very specific environment. But if he gets this specific environment that he wants that actually accentuates his abilities, then he can be world class as far as I'm concerned. I think Sancho, one, is a very good finisher. Very good finisher when he gets into the chance. He's very composed in front of goal. And he plays a short game. Manchester United don't play a short game, unfortunately. So there are players that I don't think they can really make an impact over 15, 20 yards. Sancho is one of those people. Sancho needs to make a multiple 5 to 7 yard impact, basically. Manchester United don't play like that, but somebody else might. I'm not sure that Chelsea do either. That's my concern. So I'm not optimistic, but that deal's done. So we'll wait and see what happens with that, really. Just while we're recapping, and obviously, if you got it, Sancho, what are you saying?
No, I was going to say that Sancho was. I'm not a big fan of Sancho personally. I mean, I'm not a big fan. Man. I'm not a big fan. I think Sancho's he doesn't play with intensity, man. He's a cage footballer. Like he plays at his own pace. Sancho's the kind of guy that you bring on when you're winning 3-4-0. Like he's gonna do the Olay, he's gonna nutmeg someone, then come back and drop his shoulder. Everything about him is just too playful. And don't get me wrong, I rate what he did at Dortmund, bro. But in Germany, you get a little bit more time than you do in the Premier League. And like you said, Sancho's a relationships player. He needs to
that's what I'm saying.
He's that kind of, give it, get it. He's not going to burst past you. He hasn't got like great physicality.
No, that's not the player that he is.
Nah,
but then again, he's a player that now if you find, but if there are a few teams really that can support players like that. But if you do find yourself in those teams, then I think you can get the best out of Sancho. So I agree, he's not a high intensity player. He hasn't got the great athleticism. That's the truth. And if the requirement of your wide player is to be going past players, and in the Premier League you can go past a player. Going past players is not even the hard part. Staying past him is the hard part. Because basically, if you can drop a shoulder, you've gained a half a yard, which you can't use. You can't really leave a player. You can't get past player, and for that you need both acceleration, speed, and upper body strength. One or the other, if not preferably both. Because upper body strength, at least once you've at least gained that yard and you've eased yourself in that position, then you can hold somebody off. That's the key. But generally, they'll get back at you, and that's one of the biggest problems with Anthony. Anthony it's the physical part. Anthony's got skill, but he can't leave a Premier League fullback for either speed or strength. He's too lightweight. So he would just get muscled out basically. So
with Anthony,
that's the main thing.
His problem is like he's so left-footed, it affects the way he uses his body. So like when I've seen so many attacks that United have. Anthony's running. He's running. He looks like he's away from you. But he has to run all the way back round because he's so left-footed. And I'm like, bro, you're just taking the whole sting out of the attack. Like, it's just the fact that he can't use his right foot, I think, is an absolute massive problem.
But Anthony is another player who I feel would thrive with a shorter game.
Yeah, exactly.
This game is not, you can't just have them, okay, you're the winger. Run past players. Anthony's close control is fantastic.
Ball passing, combinations, that kind of
close, fantastic. Yeah, ball passing combination. And the thing is, he actually plays, in comparison to Sancho, he plays with high intensity. So he's constantly on the move. He will give it, move. But that's not the game that we play. We want someone, he's got to be effective over 20 yards. When Bruno puts it in behind the left back, no, you need to win. Like Rashford's going to win on the other side, or Garnacho's going to win. That's the game that they want to play, and it doesn't really suit him, and it's not really making him look good either. But yeah, I mean, like I said, in closing, I'm not too optimistic on Sancho. I'll be truthful. He's obviously not in the England squad. Neither is Sterling. So both of them are going to want to get into that, and that just kind of segues to that. Lee Carsley's first England squads. What did you make of that?
Let me get
some surprise call-ups. He's gone with a few of his young boys that he knows from the under-21s. He's gone with Noni Madueke, which was, he started the season very well, but that is a big that's a big call. Obviously the biggest one would probably be Angel Gomez, which I'm so happy for Angel to see him make the squad. Obviously former Manchester United kid. I remember watching Angel. He was like our biggest talent in our academy, left to get football. Morgan Gibbs-White's in the squad for the first time as well. There was another one that he called up.
I've got it up on screen here.
Okay, go up. Where was that four that you had? The four people, the pictures. The
headliners.
Yeah, that was So that was Madueke. Yeah, Livramento as well. Livramento's a no-brainer. Like he's England's future right back. I think. I mean, Carl Walker's 34 now. No England international manager has really ever trusted Trent to be the right back. Clearly, Reece James can't be relied upon. Clearly, so
young squad, isn't it?
And Tripps is retired as well from international football. So I think Livramento really is the future of that England right back position.
I think he's quality, bruv. I think he's quality. He can play both.
And he can play left back as well.
Yeah. He can play right back, left back, pace, power, quite tenacious, good tackling. And the thing is, where did he come? I think, was he at Southampton for a little bit?
He was also another
Chelsea. These guys, man, these Chelsea guys, man. That academy is crazy. They brought through so many players, man. But yeah, I remember seeing him at Southampton. and he was just absolute quality. Like, but then I think he got did he get ACL and it was out for like a year or something?
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
I think he got ACL. But
Like
then he came back.
Newcastle, believed it. Newcastle still signed him straight off the back of the
Yeah,
ACL. I remember he hadn't even come back really to the team, and they paid big money for him.
That showed a lot of faith, man. Because obviously with ACLs, you just think, are they going to lose their athleticism? Is he still going to have his burst, the pace, etc.? But he's a player that I've always liked, man. I love the way he goes forward. Love the way he plays the game. Yeah, he definitely deserves that call up for sure. Rico Lewis doing his thing at Man City, like such an intelligent player. The way Pep's used him, how he comes into the midfield. He's like your.
I was going to ask you about Rico because on the face of it, I'm looking at it. I'm like, one of the striking things about the squad is it looks like there's no left back in the squad. You could argue Rico is right-footed, but
that's why I think Liverpool is going to play left back probably.
That's a problem position for England. I think another guy, I don't know, I think he might be injured at the moment, but to look out for probably over the next 12 months is the person who plays on the other side from Livramento at Newcastle, obviously Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall is England is suffering in left back at the moment, like the old, well, not so much the old days, like they used to suffer at left wing in the old days. Now the left back has become a problem position. Obviously, Luke Shaw, nowhere to be seen at the moment. Signal, obviously, but they haven't really got a reliable solution. It used to be Shaw and Chilwell, both of them always injured. So,
I also question the centre back depth as well.
I know there's a guy in there that
there's a guy there that I don't particularly rate, man. There's a guy. We'll get onto him in a second, bruv, man. But I question the depth at the centre back, bruv, because look, man, if you want to be a successful team, man, you need to be moving away from the likes of Harry Maguire. For being honest with you, like, and what Mark Gay showed in the Euros was fantastic. Konza in his short stint showed that he's got the capabilities as well. Obviously, John Stones is going to be who partners John Stones, right? He's the number one pick. Now, this gent, Levi Colwell, bruv. Come on, man. I don't rate him in the slightest, man, personally, bro. I've seen him, bro. I don't rate him, bruv. You know what it is? It's because he's left-footed, bruv. I don't think he's
that's tough. Yeah, and do you know what? I think it's because he's left-footed as well, yeah. And I also think he's benefited a little bit from the path that he's gone as well, yeah. He's gone that Chelsea to Brighton path, yeah, and I think that people just assume that he must be a top talent just because Brighton have played in 20 games, 30 games, and Brighton, they go about the business in a certain way. So you just think, yeah, I don't see it either personally.
Nah, it's 100%. It's Brighton tax, bruv. It's that De Zerbi system made him look so good, bruv. So he went from Chelsea to loan to Brighton, bruv, and was doing bits in the Brighton system. But you put him back in a proper team where you actually got to do some defending, like, and actually, go out to the wide areas. Actually, do your job. As Roy C says, do your job. You got to do your job, like, bro. I remember one time me and Michael were watching him. Like, even Michael called him out. I said, "Uncle, man, that guy's a bit soft." I said, "Yeah, man." Bruv, come on, man. Cole was not, for me personally, bruv. Chelsea.
I defended him a little bit last season because Chelsea were using him at left back a lot, and I was attacking him, and people saying, "Listen, let him play centre back."
Poch was killing him. But for me, moving forward, what Chelsea are doing, and obviously they've got a preference of attackers, they've got a preference of midfield, etc. The centre back areas where they're going to get caught out, bruv, and they think they've got Cole, who's going to be the stalwart for the team for the next few years, bruv. Me personally, but I don't rate him, man. He's got too many.
I don't see it. I think he'd be gone from Chelsea within 2 years, especially the way they pull the trigger on these players. I don't know if he'll be there for the long run. It's interesting as well because centre half used to be one of England's traditional positions, but recently they haven't really had much. I mean, they've had Maguire and Stones as their partnership for the last 6 years, maybe 5-6 years, generally through Southgate's tenure, and it's always been, for the most part, apart from since Gahey's just emerged, like there's not really anything behind them. They've had people like Michael Keane, Tarkowski, with the greatest respect.
Different levels, but we've seen what Lewis Dunk done, man. He stunk the place out, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Stunk the place. Lewis Dunk.
With greatest respect to Michael Keane, James Tarkowski. It's like when you look at the talent around them in the England squad, it's not matching. They're not matching that. So England have been struggling in that position. Obviously, the big hope at the moment, probably Jared Bradford.
Yeah.
So he didn't make that squad. I've got a lot of faith in him, but I think that England are struggling in that position. And I think that, I don't know, it may be a little while. It might be a case of changing the profile. English football's changing its approach a little bit. And we generally had centre-halves of a certain type of nature in the past. And they're being asked to do other things now. And, and teams are favouring centre halves that do other things, and maybe we're not going for the English options so much, but they will catch up though, I'm sure, because if the way that's the way the game's going. Lastly, on the England team, actually, a question as well for the England team. Really, I'm going to move to the forwards. Where do you? I mean, Harry Kane's in the squad. Is Harry Kane the future? Should Harry Kane be leading England to the next tournament?
That's an easy future.
What are you saying about your boy Kane, man? Talk to us, man.
Nah, I think he's got to hang out at some point for England, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like obviously his display at the Euros wasn't great, but he's a big name in it, so he's going to be hard to drop. So I feel
he's
like
also the European Golden Boot winner. He scored a lot of goals in 5 minutes, but
Yeah, but as Neville said earlier, I think Germany's it's a different pace, in it, over there. Do you know what I'm saying? We know the German league, bruv, they're getting hella goals, bruv. Average 2-1 the game, average game in that league, there's 2-3-1. Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think he's the right fit personally as well for this England group, because I think that
who takes over? That's the key question.
Well, I mean, again, I don't think there's an outstanding striker. I mean, a few years ago, like I thought, he who shall not be named. I thought this is going to be, of course, this is the future for England, like the natural successor. That's obviously not going to work out that way. Future for Jamaica at the moment, and by the looks of things, so that's Steve McLaren's problem now. Watkins. I mean, Watkins. The thing is, Watkins is 28 himself as well, so it's not necessarily the long-term solution. But what I will say with Watkins is, I do think Watkins suits the team better. Well, I'll say it's the profile. England have got wide players like Palmer, Eze, Sakas, and they don't like to play direct runners. I mean, since Rashford as well has come out of the team, they're not. I don't think they've got players. They don't play players that basically want to run beyond the fullbacks, like run onto passes. So I think that if you have players like that, if you were playing with like Rashford, and I think a few years ago when Rashford was a fixture in the team, and I think he had Rashford this side, Sterling that side, Kane was really excelling. I remember a game against Spain where all of them scored and they were Spain couldn't deal with them. Kane could drop deep, release the runners. Those runners are not there now. Those runners want to release their number 9, and the number 9 doesn't want any of that. He doesn't want none of that. But Watkins does.
But in saying that, that's when Kane used to drop deep on an actual creation thing. Now it's just a gimmick, bro. It's a gimmick because he can't run no more. Like, it's a gimmick.
He doesn't want any smoke with the centre backs.
That's why he drops. Now, them days he was dropping deep because he was actually doing playmaking. But I remember Sterling scored one, Rashford scored away to Spain, bro. Nah, he dropped deep because he ain't got no legs.
Kane was at the heart of that. I remember that. Kane was at the heart of that. And so now I don't know of his profile, because England in the Euros, their attack just looked a little bit one-paced at a point. Like, it was like everybody kept calling for Anthony Gordon. It's like you need one person that's at least going to go direct, and England weren't really playing that way. So I'm not sure about Harry Kane. Is it possible? Do you think, Nams, that maybe England could go down a false 9 route after Kane? Because I don't see maybe like a Cole Palmer through the middle, rather than, because I don't see where's the young 18 to 24-year-old centre forward.
I can't. Looking at England's forwards, bro, I can't really see the player who's gonna have the tactical nous to do the false 9 role. Possibly Palmer, but we know Cole Palmer's not a right winger either. Cole Palmer's got to play in the 10. Now defensively, Cole Palmer's not good. Cole Palmer's like you've got to give him a free role basically. He's one of those players, and he's one of those players that actually deserves a free role because he's got that outrageous X Factor talent. So I totally agree with that. Basically, he's the kind of player you build a team around. But
I think the bigger problem is one that you and I we discussed off camera a few weeks ago or whatever it was. It's just the way the football is changing. Number 9s are not being produced anymore. It's very hard to find top class number 9s, and all the top teams had to take gambles on players that have not established themselves as top class just to get a number 9. So like United have gone Rasmus Højlund because there wasn't an obvious number 9 that was top class at a team that, like maybe Juventus or something that you can go and buy. So we thought, like, let's get this guy and mold him, a lot of teams, Liverpool don't really have a traditional number 9. Spurs have struggled with that in the end, taking a gamble, big money gamble on Solanke. Arsenal are struggling in that area, going with false 9s as well. Chelsea are struggling with a centre forward. Played Nicholas Jackson on the mind last season. Is he an actual number 9 or not? But it's like, City have got one. Kane is obviously of that generation now, in his 30s, with Lewandowski, that are probably now, like after them, where's the next group?
Last of a dying breed.
Liverpool went big with Darwin Núñez, who was like, again, probably they thought, he's raw, like maybe we can make him into something, like, but there's not like a proper like top class number 9s anymore, and I think that's one of the issues, and I think England going to suffer with that. I think they're gonna have to change how they play after Kane.
Yeah. I think basically now with the lack of 9s in world football, like coach is gonna have to coach, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like coach is gonna have to coach. Like you have to. You know what I'm saying? That's why I know we're deviating. That's why I like what Arne Slot is doing so far. Like he's seen that, okay, I ain't really got a perfect 6 here, but let me try and actually put Gravenberch and see what we can do with the attributes that he's got, basically. So coaches are gonna have to start earning their money in coaching now. People, Arsenal fans all over the world are saying, Saka, why aren't we buying a number 9? Havertz is, bro. For me, Havertz has got all the qualities that I like in a number 9, bro. But his finishing is just a bit poor, bro. Like, so for me, like,
this is a product of the coaching, I would argue, because this is to argue this is all down to Mr. Guardiola, because now football's now changed, and like in the sense that teams are building up in certain ways now. You're trying to do triangles, and you're trying to, and it's all about pressure. So we don't want to cross anymore. We don't want to play, long balls anymore. So now the evolution has led to us having the strikers that we need, as opposed to the strikers that we used to have. So, and the strikers we need now are strikers that need to one press. So you have the likes of Lukaku, who now has been overlooked by the very top teams now. So he's like one of the best number 9s at the moment, like in terms of his goals records and that. But he can only rise as far as maybe like that Europa League sort of level. The real top tier, so they're not, because Lukaku scores goals, but they're still deciding that the trade-off, but he's not pressing enough, his link play is not good enough, and that is what we're valuing more, it seems, than what he does do, which is physical strength. Maybe can hold it, can, like things like that is becoming less of a demand. I mean, you look at Klopp, got 7-8 years out of Firmino.
It's true. And I think even that with that as well, because the game's changed so much, bro. That's why some of the old boys, man, our boys like Allardyce and them, man, they can't get back in the game, bro. Man. They can't get back in, bro. The lots of change, B. They can't get back in, bro. Lots of change, bro. Allardyce,
lots of those guys, bro.
And that's why them man they go on their podcast and they're mad bitter, bro, because they can't get back in this game. It's a different game now. There's no 4-4-2. There's no big man to flick it on or whatever.
Because it's crazy. You look at Liverpool and they have one number 9 who doesn't get into their first 11. And they only have the one. So you would have thought, most teams, they would think, okay, we've got to play. They're like, it's the only striker that we have. They'd rather play without a traditional number 9 than to start with Núñez. So Núñez is like a plan B, is to actually play a centre forward, which is crazy.
Agreed.
Spurs, we got to see how Spurs go on. But similarly with Spurs last season, I mean, they paid a lot of money for Richarlison. They probably found a lot of joy over the last couple of years when they just moved Son centrally. And it was like, we'd rather have this threat than Richarlison. So, I mean, it's crazy. And I think that, these things are cycles and they'll change again because it's all evolution of football. The centre forwards have changed. The centre halves have changed, because of what they're dealing with. The centre halves now have got to be ball players. You look at them, Jarell Kwanzas and those types that are coming through now. Even, Lisandro Martinez is quite tuggish, to be fair. But a lot of the profile of centre halves now, these guys would have, if Lasse Shearer got his hands on them, bruv, like, I'm flipping, Let
me say something, Let me say, I had a really, really, interesting, funny image, and I just thought to myself, I started laughing, but imagine Cornwall against someone like Drogba. Drogba will be looking at him, just licking his lips, thinking, I've got this, I can't wait to get to this guy's ribs, bruv, man. I can't wait to get, he'd have no clue how to deal with someone like Drogba, bruv, or someone like a old school Bearhoff, bruv, or, these big man strikers that don't really exist anymore, like, man. But
the thing is, I do wonder if at 23-year-old Drogba today, let's say playing at Marseille, where he came from, who signs him? Does he get signed by Arsenal, Man City, Man United level team, or does he get signed by, with the greatest respect,
Brighton.
Spurs?
Yeah,
Villa, maybe not Spurs.
No, that's a great point. I think he'd go probably a lower tier club would probably sign him, or take a chance.
I don't know if those teams want. Like, I don't think that's the profile that they'll be chasing. I mean, you look at Lukaku; it's not too dissimilar.
Yeah. No. And once again, Mourinho wanted like, when there's certain things just align, but Drogba was perfect for what Mourinho wanted and needed, but I'm saying a lot of coaches wouldn't have really liked maybe Drogba's play.
Mourinho hasn't moved into that, so I guess maybe you can argue that's partly led to Mourinho's demise as well, because he's a traditionalist in that respect as well, and he's been a top coach. But then now to counter it, these slowly these guys are working with putting these techno midgets, were putting them together and now countering his 6-foot giants here, and he'd never really evolved into that sort of game. Those guys in the hands. I mean, you look at the record of Spanish teams in finals over the last 20 years, as I've mentioned, that they've never lost a final or whatever at club level or international level. That's what's dominating football at the moment, really. And that kind of Mourinho play, a Fellaini, Matic, Lukaku, these guys is not winning anything anymore.
No, these are all topics that we can definitely go into in future sessions in terms of
West Ham, bro.
Yeah,
West Ham got Jared Bowen. He scored 20 goals for West Ham last season. Mikel Antonio was moved to. Jared Bowen was playing through the middle and scored 20 goals.
That's true. But the game's changed, man. He's just got to adapt in it, man. As always.
I guess we probably spend a little bit longer on this session because I guess not too much going on this weekend.
But in terms of internationals, is anyone diving into anything? Any slips over there?
You know what? I'm gonna put together a fouls one, and then obviously I'll put it on on Twitter. So yeah, everyone check out our Twitter account. Nams will post there later on today. It's definitely gonna be a fouls each half, basically, and obviously I'll share the site that I use to get my fantastic stats back. But there's a couple games. There's a couple games that I like, man, that I'm gonna put.
I'll have a dabble. I'm not like with my international weekends. One of the slips that I've been going for a little bit recently, as I like to handpick some under 2.5 games. I see a lot of low-scoring games sometimes with some of these abstract teams, and I might put together like a firefold or something of some low-scoring games. Might get some decent odds, but to be honest, I don't see a great deal of value at the moment in the
internationals. Don't even touch it too tough at all.
International always poor value. I guess we'll wrap it up there for this week. So we're saying if internationals, fouls and under 2.5 generally is what we're
I think I'll put a slip on Twitter as well.
We'll put it up on Twitter. But I guess until next time, we'll be seeing you. Peace out. Godspeed.